Everybody to the first episode of the Economic Exchange. I'm your host, Kugizo Gamini, and today we'll be diving into factors like why is food so expensive? How does the government's or interest rate affect our daily spending? Why is electricity so expensive nowadays? Why have oil prices gone through the roof? And how we, the normal South Africans, can bounce back from these problems. Because when you look at it, these people in the government making these irrational decisions won't be here in the next maybe 7 years to pay for these mistakes or these wrongdoings. We, the youth, will have to pay for these mistakes that they're making in the government, because you can't tell me that South Africa owns owes 6.12 trillion rand. 6.12 trillion rand. It owes billions to the United States of America. Like, what's happening to our country? We used to be the strongest country in Africa, economically, military wise, and tourist wise. Like, we had it all, but due to corruption and government's reckless spending, we have derailed from the top. Right now, Mauritius is above us. Mauritius, this is scary. A country that used to be a powerhouse in Africa is now being surpassed by countries like Mauritius, countries that were underdeveloped. We can be the most developed country in Africa, but with a GDP of 400 billion, I don't think that's good. I don't think that's good. I'm sure countries like Nigeria in the future will surpass us if we continue doing such things. Now, now this debt that the government owes is split into two main buckets: domestic lenders and foreign lenders. When we mean domestic lenders, we mean institutions like banks in South Africa, banks, ABSA, Standard Bank, and private institutions, things like that. Because um, banks put their money in government bonds, because let's be honest, government bonds are one of the safest investments you can make as a person. So putting your money in government bonds might it's let me say one of the safest options, but doesn't have the best return. So why do they put their money in government bonds? Well, it's since the bank lends out so much money per day, they need a way to secure their money. Well, that's where government bonds come in. Well, isn't government bonds well, people might ask, isn't government bonds safe for both the bank and the government? No, 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 no. It's safe for the banks, yes. Correct, yes. It is safe for the banks. But safe for the government? No. The government needs to spend that money in order for them to bring it back with interest. How does that work? Well, that's not confusing. Let me explain. The government spends the money that they get from the bank from the institutions, right? They spend. Well, how does it come back? That's where me and you come in. We pay tax. Well, let me say the working class, not me and you, but let me say maybe you, since if you're watching this video, you work. Let me say you, or the average South African pays tax. They pay tax 15, 20% upwards. They pay tax. That tax money is used to pay back the interest, to pay back the money with interest to financial institutions, right? So, how much interest does the average South African pay in tax? Well, the average South African pays around 4,800 rand in interest, while the government taxes us in the same time. Because apparently in South Africa, if you earn more, I think if you earn more, maybe like 500,000, it's an example. Not that's what it is. Maybe like 500,000, you will be taxed full 5%. It might seem unfair, But since South Africa has such high interest rates, they have to. Let me say, they think that that's the only solution, right? Now, why is food so expensive? This topic, or they asked me outside. My friends asked me outside and said, "Hey, why is food so expensive?" Because right now everything's on an all-time high. Everything is on an all-time high. Food is expensive because of fuel. Of fuel, yeah, that's it's because of fuel. People might say, "Oh, how does fuel affect food?" Well, where do you think your brands like Star One, your maize, or things like your Fanta, your Coca Cola, and everything? Where do you think they come from? Overseas. Those brands come from overseas. They need to be exported into our country, which means petrol, which means fuel. Sorry, not petrol, fuel. These plain fuels, jet fuels, and everything. Those prices when they go up, food food also goes up. You know, so since now fuel goes up, food prices go up. What does that mean? If people can't buy food, if people can't buy the necessary food because of fuel prices, the normal the normal worker in South Africa can't afford his basic needs, which means they need to take out loans from the financial institutions. See? So it's a cycle. In a way, it's a cycle. When fuel goes up, food goes up. When fuel goes down, food goes down. But here's the catch: fuel doesn't go down the same way. Food doesn't go down the same way fuel goes down. For example, if um food was to be if fuel was to be 30 rand per liter or 33 rand per liter because it used to be diesel, if there's 30 rand per liter, yeah, and food also goes up and food becomes maybe let me use bread for example. No, Coke. Let me say bread, not bread. Let me use Coke for example. Coca Cola, the let me say the best brand for soft drinks. Okay, it goes up. Maybe it was 16 rand. Now since fuel prices went up, the Coke will go up. Maybe it will be, I don't know, maybe 25 rand. It's an example. It's not the rate. It's an example. Fuel for the Coca Cola goes up and reaches a price of 27 rand. Yeah? Fine, goes up. Then fuel prices go down. Maybe from 33 rand it goes to 25 rand or 20 rand. Let me say 22 rand. Okay. Then food goes down, but it don't go down by a huge margin because they're protecting their profit and they are making sure that if that crisis comes again, they are not affected. Their profits will not be affected. So since Coca-Cola was 27 rand, it might go down, down, down and reach 19 rand or 22 rand or 20 rand, something like that. So if fuel goes down, 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 it might go down, down, down. Then also the cook price might go back to 16 rand. See, so this is an unfair market, but yet private stores like a Shoprite or Spar are protecting their profits. So the reason why food is so expensive is because oil price is expensive. Now the second thing is, why is oil so expensive? Well, people have been wondering, why is this expensive? Why is this expensive? It's because the Iranian war. The United States of America was fighting with Iran. You know, since Iran is one of the major oil distributors, if Iran starts fighting, we don't get oil. The oil, if they start cutting off oil, we are in trouble because South Africa doesn't produce enough barrels of oil to supply the whole country. Nigeria is using the oil horribly. They are not using it efficiently. And if we go to Venezuela, we don't have refineries, which means that if we buy refined oil that side, it will be more expensive. So the reason why oil is so expensive is that South Africa doesn't have the necessary oil refineries, or it is not activating the necessary oil refineries to refine oil from Venezuela. If South Africa, if South Africa used its resources correctly and opened a refinery here in South Africa, we wouldn't have to pay so much money for oil, for not for petrol, diesel, and oil in general. Because these prices are outrageous. They're outrageous. According to my sources, South Africa did have an. So let me say, let me not say did. Let me say it has an oil refinery, but it's out. It's not used because they don't refine oil anymore. They say it's too expensive. I quote unquote. Sorry, I can't quote it my left hand. Let me say it's quote unquote too expensive. That's what they say. But if South Africa was smart enough, if they refined their the crude oil from um Venezuela, since they have massive oil banks, like they have massive oil, like massive, like Saudi, they have more than Saudi Arabia. That's how much oil they have. They just don't know how to use it. So if South Africa was smart enough, they would have taken the oil in Venezuela, opened a refinery. A refinery would be expensive because Venezuela's oil is different from normal crude oil that you might get from other countries. So it might cost us like 2 billion rand, 3 billion rand, but yet in the long run, it will decrease our costs as a country. It might decrease the normal taxpayers' interest because don't forget we pay 4,800 rand in tax interest. It's tax and interest. So that interest, that tax you see, people might say no, it's the normal 15%. That 15% has an added 4,800 just for the government to pay back the 6.12 trillion rand interest debt, their debt basically. No, so if we were to open oil refineries in South Africa, you wouldn't be paying 20 rand per liter. 20 rand per liter, that's outrageous. 28 rand, 20 rand, 33 rand per liter for diesel, you wouldn't be paying that much. If South Africa was smart enough, you'd be paying like what? 15 rand per liter, 12 rand per liter, like 10 rand per liter. That's how much you'd be paying if we opened a proper oil refinery. If we had a president who is competent enough to find these things, you know. But here's the problem with us before we go to the next factor. The problem with us, South Africans, we vote for the ANC over and 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 over again. For me, ANC is done. It's over. They did their job. Yeah, hooray. Get out of here. Get out of here, bro. It's over. That chance is over. Because you can't tell me that Zuma did anything. You can't tell me Ramaphosa's doing something. You can't tell me Thabo Mbeki did anything. They did nothing. Nothing. Zuma extorted money. Zuma took money from our government with the Guptas. And the Guptas ran. They ran. That's what the reports are saying. They say the Guptas took the money and ran. What is Ramaphosa doing? He embarrassed us there at the White House. At the White House with Donald Trump at that meeting. How? How does Africa's giant get embarrassed like that at the White House? Do you know that South Africa has the strongest stock market in Africa? In Africa, the JSE market, the Johannesburg Stock Exchange market, it's the biggest market in Africa. Can't tell me Egypt is a bigger market than us. Us, we have global giants here. But what are we going to do with them if, why are they so useful if we're paying so much interest on tax, so much money on food, electricity? How? It doesn't make sense for me. In my opinion, that doesn't make sense, you know? So, in my view, I think we need to stop voting for the ANC. Their chance is over. They are not doing anything useful for us. All they're causing is more problems, problems, problems. How many years have they been promising jobs? How many years have they been promising jobs? Our unemployment rate is 60.9%. It's the highest in the world, 60.9%. It's more than Nigeria, more than places like Nigeria. How? How? Venezuela has a better employment system than us. Us, how? How? The country with the biggest market, the country with the most platinum, the country with a lot of gold, diamonds. What are you going to do with that if we have a high unemployment rate? How? How? Like, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? The DA is trying to fix the country. Let me say, they're doing a better job than the ANC, but I wouldn't say they're doing the best job. You know, places like Bloemfontein, they used to be so beautiful. Bloemfontein, Johannesburg, they used to be so beautiful. Especially CBD. CBD used to be yo. CBD used to be so beautiful. CBD, Johannesburg CBD used to be so beautiful. But now, go look at CBD now and tell me it's beautiful. Go. Go look at Bloemfontein and tell me that it looks the same as it used to be. It doesn't. It doesn't. Johannesburg it has a lot of people. The population there is a lot. But look at the place. Look how dirty it is. Of course, it has some beautiful places there and there. But look at the place now. And that's all thanks to the ANC. The ANC. For me, I think that party should be removed from the parliament totally. Now, we're on a time frame, sorry. Let's move to the next factor. Why is electricity so expensive? Yeah, now this one is it's a dangerous one. This one, so, electricity is expensive. They say it's because of illegal connection. That's what they say because in places like let me say rural places. Let me not name names, but let me say rural places. Rural places. Sorry, in rural places, people connect their electricity illegally. With illegal connections and all that. I say that could be stopped. That could be stopped, and I don't blame them for doing that. I really don't because how must they get electricity if it's so expensive? Do you see how many units does 150 buy? The last time we bought, I think it bought us like what 34 units. 34 units. 150 rand buys 34 units. This is horrible. This is horrible. How can 150 just buy 34 units? How? How do you expect her to survive if you need to buy electricity that costs if you need to buy units that cost 150 rand and only get 34 units? This can't be. And it's also and the other reason why it's expensive from what I see and I've researched is that they are let me say the ESCOM is mismanaged. It's mismanaged, because these people are drowning in debt. They're drowning, they're drowning, they're drowning, they're drowning. People say it's because they don't have competition. And I would say it's true. Because if you had competition, you know that you have to up your game. But now there is no competition for ESCOM, and it's also subsidized by the government. So they don't have competition. They don't. I say they don't see a need for them to improve, and this is why this is the problem with being too comfortable in one place. You will never see a reason to improve. You'll never see a reason to improve. ESCOM needs to be, let me say, they should open other places, like other establishments that might give ESCOM competition. because we can't survive like this. We really can't. Eskom has no competition, which is why they can put the electricity prices so high. From like 10 years ago, we pay more. Do you know how much? Do you know the percentage of the electricity prices now from back then? We let me say we pay according to my research, we pay 85% more for electricity than 10 years back. 85%. 85. That's insane. That's insane. That's insane. In my opinion, that's insane. This yo 85%. 85%. Let's process that for a minute. For a minute. 85%. Okay. Sure, people might say, nah, it's not that bad. No, 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 no. People can go for 12 hours with no electricity. 12 hours. How must we develop without having the basic necessity? Without having basic necessities, we go from 12 hours, no electricity. 12. 12. Oh, what? It can't be. It can't be. It can't be. It can't be. It really can't be. Because how must investors come here? How must investors come here, bring their business here, and help us develop if we don't have electricity? If we don't have electricity, how many times do you hear in the United States? How many times in the United States do you hear blackouts? They say no, we have a blackout. Stage 6, stage 6, stage 6, stage 6. Oh, you never hear them say they have stage 6 because they use their resources properly. Even in maybe in most governments there might be corruption then there, but you'll never see them looking like us. If we South Africa used to be, I think, number one in our GDP, but interest rates are starting to choke us alive. Like interest rates are crazy now because of the government's misspending habits. They are crazy now. How do you, the Minister of Defense, NG, she used to be on my DBE book in grade 4. NG, DBE book is like an activity book we have in South Africa. NG, nah, wrap it up. It's over. This is where you can see how corruption is alive. Corruption is alive. How does the minister of basic education come to be one of the ministers of defense? Defense. Defense. That's military work. Guns. You should be putting people who have experience there in the battlefield as the minister of defense. Not a person who hasn't even touched the field. Not a person who hasn't touched the field. The line of duty, they haven't been there. They haven't been there. They haven't had their basic training. They haven't had anything involved with the military. But yet, a minister of defense. Apparently, she's let me say, she's qualified. Yeah, that's what they say. She's qualified. According to that fact, she's qualified. Nah, I say no. This is why I say ANC must fall. ANC must just fall. That time is over. They had that time. Mandela fought for us. Yay, hooray. That time is over. People say Mandela, before we go to the next point, people say Mandela sold us out. People say Mandela, what were, let me say, it was his wife, if I'm correct, or ex-wife, correct me if I'm wrong. Yeah? He went on a documentary and say, he sold us out, he sold us. What did you do? What did you do that he did? What did you do better that he did? What did your parents do that he did? He fought for us because of his because he fought for us. Now we can work anywhere we want without having to carry a dump. We have to now we can work anywhere we want, anywhere we want. without carrying a compass, without uh, uh, without telling the whites where we are going, without reporting to the whites. This thing of Mandela sold us out is not right, not at all. Now, last but not least, how we can bounce back from this. No, according to me, the normal way of university, going to study for 7 years to be a doctor, getting a job, doesn't exist for me. It's try, it's over. How many doctors are out there? How many? How many people have degrees to be engineers, doctors, lawyers? There's so many what do you call this, high level degrees out here, but the unemployment rate is choking them. They don't have jobs. Some of the people who have what do you call this, doctor medicine degrees are working in shop right now. The normal road won't work for us anymore. We need to work. We need to find a way to make income ourselves. So this is before finding ways to get income. I recommend you read these books I'm about to show you. This might give you an insight on how money works, or and maybe ideas of um of money. The first book is Rich Dad Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. Goated book. I don't think I need to explain here. Multipliers by Liz Wiseman. This book will help you how to be a leader, in my opinion. If you want to run something big, this is the book. But even though you're starting, this might help you gain, let me say, presence in the room when trying to negotiate. I recommend you read this book and this one. The other books I have for you, if you don't know what to be in life, What's Your Dream by Samuel Squib. Best book I've ever read. It helped me find my purpose in life. Your Best Life Now by Joe. Joe. This book will help you this book will help you find achieve your true potential. No, I recommend you read this one. I recommend These are the books I have on me that I might recommend you to read. Books I have digitally is 48 Laws of Power. I recommend you go read that one. 100 million deal. $100 million deals, sorry. That book, it's a book I give credit to. I say read it. It's not a bad book. It might teach you a thing or two. So, but don't expect to become a millionaire because you read that book. You need to implement the knowledge you found into income. You need to implement the knowledge you found into creating something for yourself. You know. And the last book I read, and my friend showed it to me. I was in disbelief when I saw that book. I thought this book was about playing and all that, or like a trendy book. But after looking at it, I'm like, hey, this book I might recommend it to someone. I think the book is called Capitalist Nigger. If I'm correct, it's Capitalist Nigger. That's the book. That's the name of the book. Now, how we can bounce back from these things, or like how we, the regular South Africans, can come up with solutions in order for us to survive. Number one is creating a high income skill. Find out what you're good at. If it's singing, songwriting, producing, like find out what you're good at. Try everything you can and find out what you're good at and make that into a money skill. For example, you're good at washing cars, open a car wash. Go knock door to door, house to house. Hey, um, I charge 150 rand. Can I wash your car? I can make it look like the best in the neighborhood. Something like that. You know, those are high income skills that no one can take from you. Not even inflation can stop them. Number one, find a high income skill. Skills like copywriting, those are in demand. These messages we get from Temu, Shein, Uber, and all that, those are written by copywriters. copywriting, video editing, graphic design, AI prompting, and data analysis. Those jobs are high income skills and no one can take them from you. Check platforms like Upwork and Fiverr to display your skill, to charge people. Let's say, for example, you charge maybe $27 per hour, and this what do you call it? These platforms, you don't charge in rands; it's in dollars, euros, and other currencies, which plays an advantage for us people in Africa because we can use um, the skills that you've learned and charge higher rates than you could have charged in your country. You know, so I say that's one of the ways to make money, high income skills. Number two is drop shipping. Drop shipping, people say it's saturated, it's not. When there's saturation, doesn't mean that there won't be a chance for you. You'll never know until you try. I'm also trying drop shipping right now. I just can't utilize it now because number one, I'm too young, you know. So, but I'm trying to figure out a way on how I can do it at my age, you know. So, um, try drop shipping. It's not bad. It's really not. That thing works. It works. It works. Drop shipping works. People say it's saturated. In USA, yes, it's saturated because almost everyone does it there. Europe, South America, North America, Asia, they do it there. If you are in that country, I'd say yes, it's saturated. But if you're in Africa, in countries like Nigeria, South Africa, Angola, Egypt, Morocco, try it out. There's no way it's saturated here. Try it out. We are Africa. I wouldn't say we're the most developed, but we let me say we are one of the smartest continents. Like we are very smart. So trying it out won't hurt. Number two, cryptocurrency. A disclaimer: I am not experienced in this. I'm not that experienced in this. I have made a couple then there, but I would not say go do it now. It's not a must. You may experiment it, but me, I'm not a financial advisor. It's just what I think might work. You know, it's what I've experienced from my experience. I'm not a financial advisor. Please, if you want to know more about this cryptocurrency, check on the internet or talk to a professional financial advisor. Cryptocurrency, it's not, let me say, it's not the best. Sorry. It's not the best, but it does make money. For example, Bitcoin 2010 made people millionaires. Gyat coin is a coin apparently from 2023. Um, Dogecoin is a coin apparently. Trump coin is a coin. Solana is a coin. So how does cryptocurrency work? Well, the more people buy the coin, the higher the value. The more people sell, the lower the value. That's how basically it is. You buy more, it increases. It's like the stock market. More people buy, and more people buy, the higher the price. More people sell, the lower the price. You know, but cryptocurrency is extremely volatile. I think can change in minutes, if not minutes, seconds. It's not like the stock market where it closes. Cryptocurrency is a 24/7 market. Doesn't close on weekends, or it doesn't close. The market is always open. So I might say go try it out. You know, it's just a suggestion. Go try it out. It might work. It might not. You're in the experimental phase. So I'd say go try it out. See what works. See what doesn't. The next form of money, or the next way to make money, I would say, is forex. There's no way. There's no way people say forex doesn't make money. It's impossible. It's literally impossible. It's Psychota, which is a mega giant in forex. Now is now worth 4 billion, if I'm right, from Forex. People might say, no, the times are not the same. The times are not the same. Young people are making 2,000 a day in that thing. 2,000 a day in Forex. Forex does make money. There's no such thing. If you hear people say that thing is risky, it's risky. Everything is risk. Everything in life is risk. You might not wake up tomorrow. You might not see today fully. Maybe you might pass away right now. Life is a risk. Take risks. You can't pass away and say, no, I live the safe life. There's no safe. There is no safe in this life. Life is a huge risk itself. You could have you could have passed away during birth, but you didn't. Life is a risk. Take any amount of risk, like take it. Of course, there are some risks where you need to calculate first, but don't be scared to take risks. You live once, not twice. Take risks. Forex, it's also volatile, but it closes on the weekends. From Saturday and Sunday, the forex market closes. Monday to Friday, it's Monday to Friday it's open 24 hours. It doesn't close Monday to Friday. It's always on. So I say, try it out. Right now, what do we have to lose? I'm also trying it out with the demo account. Of course, don't start with the real funded account. Try demo first. If you like it, go for it. If you don't, it's fine. Just try it out. And for people looking for a job, I'd say try trade skills like plumbing. Plumbing pays a lot, apparently. Plumbing, welding, and electrician, those kind of jobs, physical jobs that require you to use your hands and brain at the same time. Those jobs they pay. Trade jobs pay a lot. You know, they do pay. It's just that people undermine them and say that these jobs they don't pay as much as doctors. A plumbing job pays. You might earn maybe a basic salary of 27,000, maybe. Then um for late calls, if they call you during the night, you might get like what 450 per hour just for like fixing a pipe a pipe that they could replace themselves, but they don't know how to. You could charge 450 rand. That's how much you can charge just to fix a pipe. Trade jobs, they do pay. And the last one that I'm doing right now, and I can surely recommend you to do it, is content creation. If you're scared of being judged, don't do it. But how can you be scared of being judged in this economy? Whoever judges now in this economy, you need a reality check. You need a reality check because right now content creation is on an all-time high. Everyone is trying it out because what do you have to lose right now? What do we have to lose right now? So don't be scared to try out things. Try them out. Don't care what people say because they might laugh. There is a quote I heard: "Stay small enough, long enough, will be big enough soon enough." You know. So which means try hard now. Like try, work. When people go to parties, you stay home, log in and work. That work will pay off in the future. Maybe have fun then there. It's here's my schedule and what I do. It's wake up, eat, work, maybe have a break for like 1 2 hours, take rest, take like maybe 20 minute rest and work more. It's my schedule in the afternoon 70% work and or 10% maybe watching TV or playing with my brother and 20% rest. Then I repeat, I repeat. No. So those are the jobs I might say you can use to bounce back from this inflation problem. Thank you guys for tuning into the economic exchange. I'll see you guys next week for episode 2.